Good afternoon, or good evening. I'm Jeff Bloom. I'm filling in on FIT TV for Chris DiMaggio, and we have a really good show this evening. I have with me to my immediate right Olga, Lucia, and Heidi Krantz. And we thought we'd do something a little bit different than a normal show. I'm a professional mediator. I help couples going through divorce, separation, post-divorce issues, and issues like that. Rather than going through the litigation process, they can go through mediation, both have control of what's going on, and nobody's telling them what to do, and it makes for a more affordable and quicker way to get to resolve their conflicts. Heidi Krantz is a professional life coach, and she specialties in divorce, dating, and communication. She also wrote a chapter in the book, If I Knew Then What I Know Now, and we'll get into a little bit of that as the show goes on. And Olga is a micropigmentation specialist and a doctor of optometry. And what the show is going to basically be about today is, so now you're divorced, you've been married for many years, what do you do moving on? You know, how do you get back into the dating game? How do you get your self-esteem up to kind of move on with your life, and when's a good time to do that? So I'd like to start out with Heidi. Again, she's a professional life coach. Heidi, how do you help clients re-navigate the world of dating?
So, re-navigating the world of dating is really a daunting process, Jeff, particularly when people are coming out of a long marriage. So, coaching can really empower them to rebuild their self-esteem and kind of develop strategies to make choices that come from a place of strength rather than kind of floundering around without a plan. And that's kind of where we start, is with constructing a plan.
So when you construct a plan, obviously the person who you're working with, whether it's the husband or the wife, has to feel good about taking that next step, and they might have some self-esteem issues, or are they ready, or how do they get back into the scene after so many years of being married?
Absolutely. So before we really talk about dating, in coaching, we really work on personal development and building self-esteem through accomplishments and through setting new goals that they may have felt held back from in their previous relationship. Once they're feeling stronger and really recognizing the successes that they've met in their personal accomplishments, then it's time to really get them to recognize what is special about them, because each of us have gifts and talents and special qualities that we need to really go into the dating world having in the forefront of our mind, knowing what we bring to the table. So anybody that works with me knows that I'm big on lists. I really actually have my clients constructing lists of their strengths and really practicing articulating what their strengths are. And this is very powerful for many people.
And in regards to strengths and moving forward and building self-esteem, Olga does something that's very unique to help women out. Is it men also, or is it women that you generally help?
I help women, but also I help men. What I do is permanent makeup or cosmetic tattooing. It's something very unique in helping you to enhance your natural features. I enhance the eyebrows, the liner, the lips. So when the person get up in the morning, looks good all the time. And if you look good all the time, so your self-esteem is much better.
And when I met you, you told me about this, and I thought it was fascinating. I never heard of it before. And you said your makeup is...
All my makeup is permanent. My eyebrows are permanent, my liners, my lips, all is permanent.
That's amazing, right? I mean, could you tell that she didn't just put it on?
I would never know. She looks very beautiful, and it's terrific. What Olga's talking about really is so in line with what I do. In many of my workshops, I talk with people and women about really looking your best when you go out, because it's true what they say, when you look good, you feel good. So I usually give the example of myself. When I go to the supermarket, if I'm not really in tip-top shape, I tend to avoid talking to people. I won't strike up conversation with the person that's checking out the groceries. But if I'm, let's say, ready for work and I have my makeup on and I look a certain way, it encourages me to be friendlier and talk to people. So when people are out in the dating world, it can be super valuable. So if Olga can give them permanent makeup, that's amazing.
And the better you feel about yourself,
yes,
shows everywhere. In fact, we were talking before the show, we were talking about exercising, and I was telling you both that I had recently done a CrossFit, and I've been doing that about a month, and Olga said she does a boot camp. And it does, you feel different, you feel better about yourself, and that's the first step. Olga, who can benefit from what you do?
Well, men and women, they want to look good all the time, especially women. Sometimes when they lose the eyebrows, I recreate the eyebrows. The eyebrows enhance the face, enhance the eyes, and it frames the whole face. So sometimes it's like a little mini face lifting, and it makes them look younger. The expression of the face changes. People, when after the divorce, usually women, they feel like they feel very bad because it's a traumatic experience.
Right.
And through my work, talking through my clients, they're going through divorce. They feel so bad, and then they're looking for the permanent makeup to feel better about themselves, to move on. And then they're gonna have more time to do things, more time to work, more time for the kids, easy to find a job. So this is benefit them, the self-esteem of them.
Absolutely, and I've mediated many couples over the years, and that subject hasn't really come up. Sometimes each of them or one of them have already met somebody, but I always wonder how that thought process, and when they're ready to make the move, it's not something that's right away or immediate, but they have to be ready whenever it is.
Yes.
And just because I wanted to do justice to what you do, because you do a lot more than that, Olga. You had told me about people who maybe go through surgery or things like that, where you could help recreate certain things. Is that something you want to share?
Yes, I work with people with cancer. Sometimes when the women that have the breast cancer, they do the reconstruction. I do the nipple areola tattooing. So it creates illusion that it's a real nipple, but it's just only with the tattooing. Also, sometimes when the people going through cancer and they go chemotherapy, they lose the eyebrows, the hair, they feel very bad. So when you put the permanent makeup and make them look good, the self-esteem it gets much better.
And you said you could tattoo some hair for me, right?
Oh yes, that's
look
another
like I have like
part.
long hair.
Yes, it's another part that we use.
Make me look like 20 years younger.
Yeah, why not?
I'm Heidi, and getting back to what you were talking about, and getting back into the dating scene and so forth. What's your approach as a dating coach?
So my approach as a dating coach is that dating is never just a man hunt or a woman hunt. My dating coaching approach is that dating is a journey of self-discovery, so that when you recognize your own gifts and strengths, you can recognize that in others and really build healthy relationships. So that's where the healthy relationships come from. It's more of a holistic approach than kind of gimmicks of the right pickup line here or there. Right. So that's the basic philosophy.
And in regards to, having the couple, either the husband or the wife, getting out and feeling good about stuff, sometimes there's an issue with the children. Couples have younger children and some have older children, and what invariably we talk about in mediation is when to introduce the children to a significant other. And it varies, again, if they're younger, they might say, okay, not until they're 5, not until they're 7, or they're old enough, it doesn't matter. Is that something that you get into with them? Is that an issue?
Yes, that's definitely something that my clients discuss with me, and I'm going to say, rather than choosing the right age of the child that's right, to me, we don't want to bring children of any age into a revolving door experience. So before introducing the child of any age to a significant other, we really want to make sure that we are in a solid relationship with that person, and that it's not going to be most likely somebody else next week. And that's true of very young children, and it's even true of young adult children. We don't want to, we have to be sensitive to their reactions. And the other pointer that I like to share is that we want to introduce that significant other slowly. So the first time is not, for a weekend. The first time is maybe just a hello when they're picking you up. And maybe later on there's dinner, and slowly progressing while you assess how comfortable the child is becoming with this arrangement.
And one of the things that I stress in the mediation process is what's in the best interest of the children. And that's very important. That kind of goes along to the
Yes.
subject matter we're talking about. And I always try to gear the couple back to that and show the importance of that. Because while they might not be husband and wife anymore, they'll always be mom and dad.
Absolutely.
And sometimes you get into, when it's a heated argument or a high conflict couple, well, you're not going to do that with my son, or that's my daughter. But it's not. It's both your son, your daughter, and I even use first names, so I don't go with the child, your son, your daughter. So you mean Michael or you mean Mary. There are some mediators who use the process of having the children's pictures on the mediation table. So when the children's pictures are there, it kind of brings them to the reality
Yes.
of, this not just your son, our child, our children,
That's
things like
great.
that. So
Yeah.
it's really interesting. I haven't used that myself, but I do use first names, and I make sure that that happens. In regards to, Heidi, the chapter you wrote in this book, If I Knew Then What I Know Now, I did pick up this book a few months ago at an event that we were both at.
Yes.
Doreen Guma. And could you talk about the chapter?
Absolutely. So Doreen Guma compiled this book, and I wrote chapter 7, which is called Breakup to Breakthrough. And it's a bit about my difficult personal story of going through a difficult divorce after a long marriage and navigating into a stronger, happier, more confident place in my life, along with some inspiration for others who are going along that path. And that's the basic premise of the chapter.
And in regards to moving on, as we've been talking about in self-esteem, when would you, or have you ever dealt with somebody that Olga would be a good referral? Or to throw the same question to you, Olga, how do you advertise your services, and how do you get the word out as to what you do there? Because I didn't hear about it until I had met you. Is it well known? How long have you been doing that?
Well, I've been doing this since 1993, long time ago. I'm an optometrist doctor, and I started to do eyeliner tattooing for people that have problems with the eyes. And I became an expert on the field. I'm an expert tattoo artist. I have a little talent, so I know how to draw, how to design, and all my knowledge, I focus only on the cosmetic tattooing. And through my clients and through my work and my patients, I learn about them. Sometimes when I do scars, I fix scars, and they feel much better, and they make them move on in their lives, Just having the permanent makeup is not only like, oh, I'm gonna look beautiful, but it's also save you time. So, it's a time that instead of spending in the morning applying the eyebrows, applying the liners, it's certain time that you can give it to your kids, you can give it to your to a relationship, to your friends, for yourself. Right. So this is so many benefits that I found through this kind of work. It really, most of the time I do word of mouth, but through this show, interviews, and try to educate people about this exists in Long Island.
And do you do any type of like open houses or seminars or?
Yes, I do seminars. I do seminars into like social groups, and I try to educate people about it, because people, they have the stigma about tattooing. Oh, tattoo is something that's in your body, but they don't know all the benefits that we can apply into your living, into your personal life, to feel better about yourself.
And Heidi, had you heard about cosmetic tattooing before? Or?
I had not, so it's very interesting to me, and I think could help many of my clients. A significant part of our dating coaching often centers around internet dating coaching, and part of that is preparing for the photo. So we often talk about makeup for the photo and what would be most flattering, and so I'm very glad to now have Olga as a resource. So I really take clients through the process of internet dating. We create an original profile together, okay, including the photo and the narrative.
When you say a profile, you're talking about like for a dating site, for
yes,
example.
for a dating site. So I guide them through success strategies for the best photos, and the narrative portion where they can comfortably talk about their strengths and gifts, and do it in a humorous, engaging way, what I call a reach out and grab you profile, because there are so many hundreds and thousands of profiles. So what will make somebody stop and get to know that client And that's what we zero in on together. And then we go on to take them through the process of making good judgment calls. What does it mean to write an email that's going to be engaging and further the process beyond when someone is interested in the profile itself? How do we take that to the next level? And onward, success strategies for the first date and beyond.
Right. And that's interesting because people sometimes might jump right into something like that without knowing exactly what to do or how to do it.
Yes.
And I've tried, after my divorce, I've tried the dating sites, and there's horror stories that everybody has about those.
Yes.
About them.
So I really like to catch people before they develop the horror stories, because I have both, clients that are coming to me saying, I don't know how to do this, can you help me? And clients that are coming to me and saying, I've tried this and it's a nightmare, so I don't know what to do anymore. And then we have to undo a lot of negative beliefs that really are not necessary. They're really not necessary. I'm remarried. I did meet my husband internet dating,
okay.
And that builds a lot of trust and rapport with my clients.
And this question is for both of you in regards to internet dating, and I'm sure, Olga, you've had some experience with people asking you about that. I think one of the main horror stories that I've experienced and I've heard from others is you'll find somebody online that you think you want to meet, and they'll have the picture up there, and then you'll talk a couple times, you'll set up a meeting, and it turns out it was their picture 25 years ago. And then you barely recognize the person. I mean, I've heard that's happened more than once, and that's, it's really craziness. Olga, have you, spoken to people about that? Do they come to you with, now I'm ready to go out and date, or I want to go online, but before that, I want to, get some cosmetic tattooing, or?
Yes, that's the reason I approach you into this, because talking to the clients, a lot of people, they're going through divorce, a lot of people, they're going to break up relationships, and they're ready to move on, and part of the idea of moving on is I want to look good, I want to look younger, I want to look refreshed, I don't want to be worried about my makeup gonna look bad all the time, I'm gonna go to the gym, I wanna look good at the gym, I'm gonna go to the pool or at the beach, you wanna look presentable all the time.
Absolutely.
So this is part of helping them into the process to move on with their own lives.
So,
Go ahead,
sorry, in terms of the photos, and that scenario, yes, I've heard it many times. So, I do encourage my clients to have current photos, but really maximizing the way that they look, and also taking that a step further and looking that way on the first date as well. So if they're going to put all of the effort into how they look for the photo, you want to put the same effort in to the first date so it looks like the same person.
It is. It's funny when it happens, and I guess I could share a personal story because it's funny. I won't say which dating site, but it happened to me. I met somebody, we talked, we finally met on a Saturday afternoon for lunch, and when I went to pick her up, she had to be like 40 years older than she was in her picture. And she said she was, if I remember correctly, I want to say mid to late 40s, and she couldn't have been a day younger than 70. I was like,
So those are some of the kind of typical stories. And one strategy that I really share with people, and it's pretty simple, is make the first date a very, what I would call, time-defined date. So it's not a dinner date. It's a date to meet for drinks or meet for coffee.
Right.
And then you don't need to be together for 2.5 hours. It can be,
we were together like 15 minutes, and it felt like 2.5 hours.
Within an hour, it's finished, and then you can have a pleasant time with any human being for a time defined. So if there's some disappointment involved, it really helps prevent dating burnout when people make that first date very time defined.
And Olga, and same question to Heidi. When somebody's choosing both your services, to Olga, how do they choose a correct technician and know who they're going to choose? And to Heidi, after Olga, I'm sure there are other people that do what you do. How do they find that person? It's like when somebody comes to me and they want to speak to an attorney and they want to talk to other mediators,
Yes.
I invite them to do that so they can get all the information they need. So Olga, how does somebody go about choosing the right technician or know?
Yes, choosing the right technician, the best way is referral. The best way is referral, ask somebody else who does the job, who got the job from that person, see their reputation, check the background, how much experience the person had, not only experience, how they do the work. In my case, pictures is the best way to show before and after of my work.
And you had told me when we first met, there are people that claim to do what you do, but they don't have the certification, they don't have the experience, and there's a lot of horror stories that come along with that.
Exactly. So like in any profession, you have the good people, you have the bad people, and yes, you have to check that the person has the ability to do it, the license, and like I said, referrals, and go with your gut feelings. Sometimes you meet the person and you don't feel comfortable, so I recommend go with your gut feelings.
And in my field, people will call me and ask me, what's the difference between mediation and going to an attorney? Should I talk to an attorney? There are mediators who will tell prospective clients, don't go to an attorney, they'll only try to grab you, they won't tell you about mediation. I'm kind of the opposite. What I like to tell them is get all the facts, find out what an attorney says. Talk to me, talk to another mediator. The worst thing is to come back 5-10 years later and, I wish I knew about mediation.
Of course.
Jeff, I hear this all the time, Jeff, where were you 5 years ago, 10 years ago? We spent all our money and all our savings. I wish I knew about mediation. It's better to go through all the steps, talk to some mediators, talk to some attorneys.
Yes.
Then when you make that
Experts.
decision, you're not saying 5-10 years down the line, I wish I'd known that, I wish I knew what to do.
Absolutely.
So Heidi, in regards to what you do when somebody's looking for a professional coach,
Yes.
and I don't know if how the competition is for you out there, or if there's many people doing what you do.
So it's a great question, Jeff, really. I really encourage people to be educated consumers because, unfortunately, anybody can call themselves a coach or a life coach, and they don't necessarily have to have training in order to do that. So I received my certification from an internationally accredited program where I was required to take written and oral exams to get that certification, and it's internationally recognized. It also requires me to subscribe to the International Coaches Federation Code of Ethics, and so that would be an important question. Where did you train, and is it an accredited program?
Right, so again, somebody not holding himself out as a coach or as a cosmetologist because they had a little bit of experience, or they think they're good with talking with people. There's more to it than just that.
Yes, and the other way that people can kind of figure out if it's the right coach for them, which is a way that many of my clients figure it out, is I do a lot of public speaking, many workshops and seminars, and so when they hear me speak, they can get to know what my philosophies are and what I'm like, and they can get to a feeling if they might feel comfortable if they're looking to do one-on-one coaching, if I would be the right person for them. So I give a monthly dating success workshop for 7 in Heaven singles, and I give frequent dating essentials classes for Great Neck Adult Education, and all of those dates can be found on my website, as well as many other events.
Okay. So, and you both have a lot of information on your website, so if somebody can go on and find that information. And the same thing with my website, I always try to put as much information as possible. Heidi, if you'd like to mention your website address.
It's reinventionlifecoaching.com.
And Olga?
Mine is permanentcosmeticsbyolga.com.
Okay.
Or pcosmetics.com.
And if you get a question about mediation, mymediationservices.com is a good, check out the sites. There's FAQs, I think, on all our sites. If I remember correctly, I have it, you do too. And get all the information, know what it is you're looking for before you hire anybody in any field, and especially and if you're going to somebody who, let's say, doesn't have a website, I would be leery of somebody like that who doesn't invest the time or to have something up there where people can find you.
I offer consultation for my clients also. So before to do something, I offer a free consultation, what they want, to understand what they're looking for, and then to know if they really candidate for the service. Some people, they asking for services they're not candidate for, or so as a professional, you just guide them what will be the best for them.
And how long is your consultation?
15-20 minutes,
20 minutes.
because I've been doing this for 20-something years, so it's something that you learn very quick, how to read the client, what they're looking for, and what are the needs, and what they should do and what they shouldn't do.
Now, something that was probably a major or a common question for your services, how do they pay for that? Does insurance cover? does?
Because it's cosmetic procedure, insurance doesn't cover. The only thing the insurance covers is when we do the medical tattooing, the areola tattooing for people with breast cancer. So those are the only cases that the insurance cover. The rest is cosmetic.
Everything else would be out of pocket. And do you do payment plans, or do they have to pay for everything in full? Or
well, I receive Visa, MasterCard, so people can put it on the credit cards.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And Heidi, you offer also a free consultation when people come to see you, or how do you do that?
I often do offer an initial consultation, complimentary, and this way people can find out how comfortable they feel coaching and how much value it may bring to their life, to their dating success, if that's their goal. Yes.
And just in wrapping up, since we have about a minute left, Olga, I'd like to give you an opportunity to say anything that you feel that you want to kind of let the audience know about that maybe we didn't cover or that's important.
Mm-hmm. Well, that permanent makeup is available in Long Island. That I've been doing this for 22 years. I'm specializing in this tattooing, and don't be afraid. Like, this is a tattoo, yes, but don't be afraid, because this is something beautiful that we can do for people. It's not painful like the body art tattoo. I use specialized instruments, computerized machines, so with anesthetic, so it make the process much better and easier.
And you do also, I think you had mentioned to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, actual tattoos also?
I used to do body art tattoo because I have this
with the
talent.
same procedure, or?
It's a little bit different. The body art tattoo is different than the cosmetic tattooing. The pigments, the instruments are a little bit different, because what we try to project with the cosmetic tattooing is to enhance the features, so you don't want it to show like it's fake tattooing, so it's kind of a makeup.
And in winding down, as we're coming to the end of the show, there's a lot of great information from both of you. I appreciate you both for coming on the show, and I'd like to have you back. Heidi's been on the show before, and it's very important that the viewers know that when they're looking for services, the things that they need, go to the right people, do your research. Thank you for tuning in to FIT TV. It was great having the opportunity to host my first show. And Chris and Nancy will be back next week. Have a good evening.